Good morning to you. It's 8 o'clock on the start of a Wednesday. Glad you're with us for Second Cup. Peter, love that. Happy Camel Day. Yes, hump day.
Feeling like Wednesday.
Yeah, here we are.
I went to the movies last night.
Tell us more.
Okay, I saw Sinners. Our Haley Steinfeld fans out there. Did anyone see Sinners? Ed hasn't seen it yet.
No.
So no spoilers.
Don't ruin it.
But wow, that was a good morning. Not a good morning. Everyone's saying good morning. That was a good movie. Solid movie, really, really good. It's all I can think about. It's all that I'm like looking into. I want to hear all the behind the scenes. I want to hear all the inspiration. Let me know if you saw the movie. If you have any thoughts, we'd love to chat about it offline because it was really, really good. And I'm looking forward to you seeing it and like having your
Discussing,
thoughts.
dissecting.
Like on one hand, I'm like, okay, all of the think pieces, right? Because it's like steeped in like some like mythical stuff and then some like history in Mississippi, but then there's just like some funny like talk about it, and then you got the Haley of it all, the Michael B. Jordan of it all. I'm just really enjoying it. Anita wants to see it. If you needed that extra push, let me push you because it was really, really good. Just a quality movie. Movies these days are very long.
Yeah, how long is it?
It was 2 hours, 17 minutes.
Wow.
And if you do go, do not leave after the credits.
Oh, okay.
Do not leave after the credits. There's something that happens and it's really integral. You have to say, like, once the movie's over, and then after that, there's something else less important. But
Okay.
sit until they turn the lights on. Even after they turn the lights on, give it another minute.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because they put a lot of like Easter eggs in there. And yes, Jeanette's so right. Her song, I think it's called "Dangerous," is so good.
I didn't know that she sings.
Yes,
I thought she was just an
did.
actor.
No, she has that song. I love me. I love myself.
Oh,
I
that's
can't
her?
even- Yes. Every time that I know. She's more of a singer, or she was more of a singer, at least to me, than she was an actress. She was in Pitch Perfect, and like that.
No
whole,
way.
The whole movie's about singing. The second movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jeanette's right. It's called Dangerous.
Wow, she's been singing Jordan Says since 2017. Who
Jordan Johnson's in
knew?
the chat. She knows. She's really, really good. Incredible in that movie.
Jeanette.
They are exactly. She's
Hello.
perfect. She has lots of songs.
I love me.
She's
myself
she's
and I
really
don't
good.
need
Everyone's
anybody
like,
else.
hello.
Oh my God, I had
The
no
great
idea.
song, hey.
I love that song, but I had
She's
no
another song
idea
that
that
people
was
know.
Haley.
Yeah, she's another song that people know.
Oh my God, hello, Ed.
I'm telling you, if you know her from being our cute little Haley, though, we're going to get a different version of our girl in this movie.
Oh, I love that for us.
Woo!
She's been singing longer than acting,
Yes,
Connie
that's what I'm
says.
saying.
Interesting.
She was one of those, like, she wasn't like in the Disney or Nickelodeon conversations, but she was one of those, like, girlies who came up who was singing and then started doing movies, like, after that.
Okay,
and, like,
interesting.
kind of getting involved in it. There's, like, another song that I can't think of that, like, you definitely know that's, like, a Haley song. I can't think of it right now, but Love Myself is a huge one.
I love that. She sounds like a very versatile Haley is what Anita says.
Yeah, she's a triple threat. I don't know if she can dance, but she can certainly act and she can sing.
Okay.
We'll find a third thing for sure.
She's marrying Josh Allen.
She's a Bills fan. She's a Bills
Yeah.
fan. That automatically makes you
She loves Buffalo.
A triple threat.
So funny.
I also think of her as more of a singer than an actress. Danielle's excited to see her in it. And you guys, I'm telling you, it was a really, really good movie. I love Ryan Coogler. He does like the Black Panther movies.
Okay.
But this is the first one that's kind of like from his own brain. And let me tell you, I love Michael B. Jordan so much. In the movie, he does like a Parent Trap kind of thing where like he plays twins. Obviously, it's him both playing both actors or both characters. And I need 12 Michael B. Jordan. I don't
We all
care.
do.
We need more of Michael B. Jordan in this world. He was really good. So
funny.
that was my Tuesday evening. And then I came home and it downpoured literally as soon as I parked my car. And I was like, oh gosh, and I have to run in all dramatically and like.
Well, so I let
get
Gladys
inside.
out last night at the last minute, and I don't know what I was thinking about, but it was like time for her to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I let her out, and as I let her in, the lightning and the thunder started. I'm like, oh, that was perfect timing, Gladys.
Yeah, no.
She didn't answer back, but
She's like, what are you talking about?
right. But it was one of those days. I want to show you the forecast that we've got coming up because today a little bit chillier. Aaron was talking about that cold front that moved through. But look at the temperature difference between today and tomorrow. The thing is, tomorrow could get a little bit rocky. He was saying
It's about to rain for 40 days and 40 nights at this point.
seriously, just build an ark.
Chillier at the start of May. I mean, we're talking about those April showers bringing May flowers, but I would like to see May higher temperatures coming around.
So just keep that in the back of your mind. Tomorrow afternoon might be a little bit dicey. In Warsaw, though, consider this. School is canceled for kids in grades 6 through 12 today because of the weather that rolled through Wyoming County last night. And as a result, there might be some damage or some issues in the school building. And so they had to cancel school for those students in particular.
Yeah. Everyone else outside of those grades, 6 through 12, is expected to report to school. That's staff and students. But those middle schoolers and high schoolers going to have the day off today. You're right, Lori. It was a beautiful day during the day. It was a weird day.
Yeah.
It was windy, but it was really sunny. And Aaron was saying that sunshine only kind of makes the cocktail for the weather a little bit worse. It kind of mixes things together, and then you get that risk for a tornado and all of it. So I was expecting it to be kind of bad. I mean, it was just that downpour that I saw in Buffalo, but areas in Wyoming County saw a bit of a different situation, a little bit more rough and more damage out there. Some hail, possibly some power outages. Seems like everyone's doing well this morning. No, serious things to report, but school canceled for those students there.
Linda says we're driving to Michigan tomorrow, so hope it's not too bad. I'll make sure you're checking with us tomorrow morning, Linda. Okay, let's talk about this because I think this is really interesting. When you graduated from college, how much money did you expect to make, or how much money did you actually make? And we know that we are, in a day and age where everything is more expensive and we are paying a lot more for a lot more things.
Everything.
So do you feel like, that's not a good question. The question is, should college graduates be paid six figures? Let's cut to the chase.
Straight to it. So this is what people are saying, right? Kids coming out of college these days, their expectations are, some would say high. For them, they're like, look, I'm worth it. I know my worth. They're saying I'm worth six figures. I'm worth $100,000. And these are 22-year-olds coming out of school who are like, show me the money. And I just don't know. I mean, I graduated school 2019, so it feels like a while ago now. But
that's cute.
No part of me.
It feels like a while ago. That's adorable.
It was a time though. Like, all of my friends were in different majors and different things. So I think we were expecting different salaries when we came out of school. I went to journalism, so I knew what I was getting.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. But no part of me thought I was going to be anywhere near six figures. And it seems like, they're not actually getting that. A study found that they actually are taking home just under $70,000, which is still a lot of money. 2
in 5 recent grads say they couldn't get the pay they wanted. Some say they were able to negotiate for a higher pay. Fewer say their starting salary exceeded their expectations. Ooh. Peter says if recent grads want $100,000, go
to Wegmans.
Oh, get the candy bar.
Get the candy bar at Wegmans. There you go. That's one way
funny.
to do it. Now, Lori says if you work hard, you should be rewarded. And college is hard. College is difficult. College is also very expensive.
Right.
So you come out and you're like, okay, I want to be, it's that immediate gratification, right? I've worked hard. I've been in school my entire life. I'm starting this job. I'm going to put my effort in there. But I do think you got to kind of prove yourself a little bit, right? You have to prove that you can do that work and that you are worthy of being paid a certain amount. Obviously, you need to be paid enough to live, enough to be able to pay rent and to exist, not saying they shouldn't be paid.
A cost of living.
Yeah, but,
some companies, though, however, are paying not for cost of living, but cost of labor. And that, I think, is very interesting. So what is the position worth where you are? So in other words, if you're working in Buffalo as opposed to New York City and you're kind of doing the same job.
Gosh. Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that graduated, went straight to New York City. In order to be able to not live in a cardboard box, you got to be able, you got to be making a lot more if you're living out there. James says college graduates have enormous debt, but these days with all the layoffs, they should just be grateful for a job in their field. Diane says, how about proving your worth? And I guess that's what the argument that I'm making. And I feel like I hustled, right, for a while. And, you earn your position.
Well, and that's what Charlene is saying, is that you have to earn your worth.
You don't just get it right away. And you know what? Maybe that's the first 6 months you get a promotion.
Sure.
And you fight for yourself, negotiate. But I don't think that, hiring managers or bosses are going to be like, sure, here's $100,000.
Let me also just put this into perspective. When I graduated and got my first job in TV, my colleagues, my peers, and I were paid between $25,000 and $30,000. Now, this is in 2007, 2008, and that was high at the time for
Right.
the industry, and we were lucky to be paid that. The thing is, that's poverty in reality.
Oh, absolutely. And like, I don't know, when you're talking about 22, 23, 24-year-olds, maybe if you did grad school, 25, are you thinking about, you want to invest and you want to save,
Right.
but I think it's like livable, right? For that first couple of years. Barbara says, I wasn't concerned about how much I was going to make. I was looking for a good job in my chosen
Right.
career. I was poor and I worked hard and eventually obtained a job that I loved and eventually was well paid.
But
And
you
when
have to like
think
pay your
about-
dues a little bit.
Well, right. And when you think about where you are now, Barbara, how do you feel reflecting on that? Obviously, everyone wishes that they made six figures when they come straight out of college, but I do think it builds you, right? And it makes you
Resilience.
Yeah, it makes you want to work hard. It makes you also realize, do I like this job? Do I have a passion for what I'm doing? Am I feeling rewarded with what I'm doing? Is it just about the dollars and cents? And for some people it is, right? And maybe that you change careers and you go somewhere where hey, I know I'm going to get more money. I don't care about the day to day.
Right.
Or is it the work-life balance? Do you know that, hey, I'm doing what I love. I can enjoy the things that I like. And you know what? The pay doesn't matter.
Lori says college is definitely much more expensive. However, six figures, one must prove him or herself. Clearly, they aren't planning to be in the education field. You have to be
Certainly not.
retiring to even be approaching six figures, right?
my
And then
goodness.
Anita's kind of got this really good point to your point, Taylor.
Yeah.
Our culture has been living beyond our means, and that should be a course that's taught.
Yeah, I mean, my mom has always said to me, it was something she used to make me repeat back to her when I was a kid. She was like, you should always have your own. And I would say money back to her. Money's always been a huge thing. You want to make sure that you have that money and it's livable. But, people these days, they want to be able to do more and experience more
Yes.
and, go to that concert and go to all these things. I felt like, there was an expectation a couple of years ago that's like, look, there's going to be a little bit of struggle. But for some people, they're like, I don't want to go through the struggle. I want to get straight to the money.
Howard says experience is sometimes often worth more in the end than a degree or in addition to one. Took me many years to get over the 50K mark. Finally, last few years, I got over 100K. It took 43 years to get there, he says.
Wow. And that's that investment in yourself. You know what I mean? And working hard and pushing to it. I think, Howard, you're really right when you say that experience is worth it. Doing that job and working hard, you can take that home with you. And obviously, you look at that bank account and you want to see dollars and cents.
Carmen
but-
says, even when your experience doesn't match your worth. Well, there you go. I mean, there are some people who certainly feel a certain way, but experience does matter, and experience also goes a long way in painting pictures and explaining situations and being that person who can contextualize.
Yeah, and also I think when you're talking about ways to make money these days, I mean, when you talk about there's influencer culture, there's some people I know who make a lot of money,
Yeah.
who are influencers, who
Just
are
talk.
on social media,
Right.
who are on TikTok, and if you can get these brand deals, I mean, we're talking about young people who are getting brand deals. There's a guy. I don't know him personally, but I follow him for a while. He does fashion content. He shows how he dresses himself and makes his outfits. He said that he's bringing in $4 million a year, and he's younger than me. And I don't know if he's ever worked, a corporate job or any other jobs like this, but he's investing in his future. He wants to retire his mom and all these things, but he's been able to get right after and make all this money, and kids see that, right?
Yeah.
They know that people in the influencer industry, or you can, go on YouTube and you can make a lot of money.
It's funny for that influencer culture, though. You're able just to go out there and do whatever you want, say whatever
Right.
you want, and show whatever you want, right? There's other industries where you have to do a lot. And I'm not saying that influencers don't do a lot of work. I'm sure it's a lot of work, right? You're creating that content,
And you're putting yourself out there.
but it really doesn't take much to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can just open your phone, show what you're doing. I mean, some people do the get ready with me's or
Right.
their outfits or, house tours and things like that. And, you can make a lot of money.
These influencers get so wealthy, it truly amazes me. I agree. Barbara says, I had a career where I could and did travel around the world.
Wow.
I've been retired for almost 5 years, living the dream in a trailer in Florida and back home in Western New York. Good for you.
There you go.
Beyond grateful for putting in the effort.
And then I think when you talk about there are other things that could sweeten the deal, you know what I mean? Maybe your healthcare is super important to you, and you're talking about a stable, 9-to-5 job, and it pays the bills. You have good healthcare, you have good benefits. You're investing in your 401k, and you know what? Maybe those benefits sweeten that deal. Maybe you got a lot of time off. Maybe
Sure.
there's something else you can negotiate, or if you know anyone, or if there's any of these people here expecting $100,000.
Howard says, I worked
Oh,
and earned
gosh.
everything I got. My work ethic was taught well by my parents. In today's age, not so much. he says there's really not much work ethic for people anymore. I think it might be a little bit of a different work ethic, perhaps, because I think that, when you're talking about an influencer culture, why do I keep messing that up? Influencer culture, there is opportunity to work really hard. Content is not easy to produce per se.
Not at all.
But it's almost like you're producing that stuff that people are just scrolling through because it's mindless stuff.
But people can also, this can happen overnight. You can be making videos and working really hard for a long time, and then one video blows up, and then all of a sudden you're getting brand deals and things like that. So it's interesting to see. But Lori says it seems like everyone is struggling these days somehow. And I think that's a great point too. When you're talking about the cost of living and getting what you need and what you expect to make, right? And what you expect to have in the bank, it does seem like there is a lot of people on the same playing field, right? Where everyone is like, it's getting a little hard.
Lori says, I made more money in my 20s rather than in my 50s. What are you doing?
Oh my goodness.
How is that possible?
Yeah, what's the cheat code?
Oh my gosh. I must have missed the boat on that one because let me tell you, 20s were a struggle.
Struggle years, but fun.
Hey, listen, a couple of things that we want to address here. First and foremost, number one, May 7th is coming up very quickly. That's the day that you need to have your real ID done in your wallet and ready to show if you're traveling domestically or if you are flying, if you're traveling domestically on an airplane or trying to get into a federal building. So how do you know if you have a real ID? Take a look at your license right now. There's that star in the corner on the top or on the bottom. That will get you on an airplane or into that federal building.
Yep. And I think, for a lot of people, I'm a procrastinator personally. I'm going to wait till the last second. Johnny, our friend, we were talking about taxes, and he was like, wait until the last minute to do that. I feel like if you're a last minute person, this is the reminder that you need. Check that license, that ID. Do you have what you need to be able to travel? Do you have any summer trips coming up or anything you need to do? This is just one of those things. Cross off the list and just kind of get it done because it's like a requirement for everyone.
So you have to make an appointment quickly because some of these DMVs that are providing these IDs are, right, exactly. The DMV was nuts yesterday. Thank you to my point. It is one of those places that you need to make an appointment for because those lines are out of control. So many people waiting until the last minute. Anita says, I'm so last minute. I'm a procrastinator. Connie says, I've had mine for years. I don't understand why people don't have it already. A passport is okay, Sarah mentions. Right.
Question.
Yes, if you don't have a real ID.
Yeah, and then this is just, it's one of those processes, right, that you have to go through. You sit in line. It shouldn't be too hard to get it, but it's one of those things where I can see how someone is like, oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll get to it. Let me do it on the way home, and then you just end up driving the way home naturally, and you're like, I'll leave it till tomorrow.
Well, and the thing is that this deadline has been extended for so many years. It was supposed to go into effect during the pandemic, and now it was extended out into 2025.
And then there's some lawmakers who want to extend it even further.
Exactly. Marlene says, can't this be done after May 7th? Yes, the thing is, you will then have to carry your passport around if you want to get on an airplane or if you want to get into that federal building. Jordan says, already have a passport, it's worth it to get a real ID. I think so. I don't really like carrying around my passport.
And also, if you, God forbid, lose it or you forget it somewhere, and this is for like flying domestically, you don't have to bring it if you're just, staying within the U.S., but, it's a give and take. You'll be okay, right? If you know that you have your passport on you, you'll be good. You don't necessarily need it if you have a passport, but there are a lot of people out there who don't have passports.
Julie says, I got my real ID months ago thanks to someone on Channel 7 saying to get it before months.
There you go.
I had to get a copy of my marriage license to get it. Okay, great. James, I travel a lot. I've learned to cover myself by always bringing my license and my passport. Then Linda says, Linda's reporting someone. Okay. Then the other issue that we want to talk about too, just briefly, is the issue being discussed right now in the Buffalo Public School System. The allegations that they are covering up sex assaults among students inside these facilities. This all kind of stems from one case, one opportunity that a Buffalo SVU detective took to go on a podcast to discuss these allegations. And now, as we mentioned to you earlier in the week, the Buffalo Public School System is calling for an independent external investigation into these allegations.
And they said they're going to make that public.
And so we'll have to wait and see what actually happens here. This all stems from this one case in particular where this guy, Cronin, who came came from Illinois actually made it into the Science Magnet School inside, or that's connected to the Buffalo Museum of Science. This is Detective Richard High. He's the guy who went on that podcast to discuss the issues. Now, Karima Morris from Bury the Violence, which is an anti-violence organization working to help protect people, working to help promote peaceful resolutions. Yeah,
she's a pillar in our community, I would say. Karima does a lot to speak out for communities. You hear a lot from her. She helps and supports a lot of families. So in this situation, as someone who's a leader in the community, she's like, hold on, I want answers here.
Right.
So she's taking it upon herself to hold a petition and a forum that's happening tomorrow. And she's like, look, we have questions, we want answers. So this is kind of the next step here, and we're seeing the community react now.
So this is an issue that so many people have been concerned about. Dali is saying that this is more than one case, and sure, it is more than one case. This is the one case in particular that we've been reporting on in particular, so we can just bring that link into our WKBW section here from our WKBW webpage. Johnny, my boy Marrero, is over here. He's going to drop that link in the comments for us. Charles says, SVU detective, Army drill sergeant. I'd say he's more than just an influencer. Sure, he's got a lot of knowledge, which is why we are discussing this issue. No, Billy, is that Ed the guy who condones children being raided and beaten? I believe so. No, there's no condoning here. Certainly there are allegations that are made by somebody who is familiar with the investigations. These are problems that are being investigated not only by the school system, but now external investigations and investigators, but the police department itself. Unfortunately, when there are issues that are being investigated, it is next to impossible to get information, which is
extremely hard,
right?
Which, limits.
Which is why we have. And what I said initially was that I applauded Richard High, the detective, for coming forward and saying this and bringing these issues to light.
So we'll keep you updated along the way. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of those forums and those meetings with Karima Morris and, what families have to say. We've gotten a number of messages. We've got a number of responses here. It's been our top story for days now, so we'll have to see what happens.
Peter says, I wonder if others in BPS reported something, but nothing else was done. I have an eerie feeling on this. So yeah, big questions about what's going on here, big questions about what's to come, and if anyone will be held accountable internally, externally. We see that one guy who's facing charges now. So, beyond this, time will tell what happens.
A lot of what else is going on that we may or may not know. Yeah.
Let's also talk about what's happening in Niagara Falls this morning. This is a matter of one family's tradition being scrapped, they say, by the city's DPW.
So they had this very large garden in front of their house. This is what it looked like, and this is what it looks like now. So the DPW, came around and said, hey, this is a hazard in Niagara Falls, and you got to get rid of this. And not only that, but also here's a $2,300 fine. So this family is like, whoa, okay, first of all, that's a lot of money for us. So they started a GoFundMe, and they're already almost at the amount to pay that fine. And they're also like, we've been doing this for the past 5 years. It's important to note that they do rent this house. Right. They do not own it. And the city has said it is a hazard. So we'll have to see, what the ordinances are and what exactly those rules are. And of course, you have to follow the rules.
Sure.
But this family is like, whoa, why didn't we get a warning? Why did we not know about this? And it just kind of all happened so fast. And they're disappointed to see something that they worked really hard to build has been taken away.
And it all started with their son, who wanted to just plant sunflowers in the garden. And, obviously when it comes to, a young person wanting to do something that brightens their day, they wanted to continue this tradition. So now they started a GoFundMe to try and help pay to replace the garden, number one, and number two, to also pay for fines that the city sent to them, $2,300 worth of fines.
Yeah.
Robin says, I think the DPW needs to show all of the receipts on this. How many letters went to that address?
Right. And I think, for this family, on paper, right, we're talking about a garden. And is it a hazard? What is a hazard and what isn't a hazard, up to the city at this point. But I think when we're talking about a garden, something that's supposed to help out and, just spread good beautification in the community, it just raises eyebrows like, whoa, why are we getting rid of this?
Nancy says they built the garden for their autistic son when he bought his first sunflower. So that's kind of where this all started from. The reality is it's gone now. And then Kent says there's a lack of consistency in enforcement.
Danielle says warnings probably went to the homeowner, so the landlord, and then the landlord should be advising them. I can see that happening. Maybe the mail going directly to the landlord and his family has no idea.
So Barbara says, what constitutes a garden hazard? Great question. And these are questions to look into for sure about the enforcement, about the code. When you see the picture, it's on either side of the sidewalk. So it could have been a right-of-way thing. It could have been an impediment to sight lines
Catherine
or
says,
to the
did
sidewalk.
It have vegetables? Maybe it was bringing rats or...
Okay, good question.
I don't know.
Good morning, Larry. Glad you're with it. Sarah says, I agree. They're ruining this for... I'm not really sure if you're talking about the garden here. Robin says, was tearing down the garden the only resolution, or could there have been some compromise?
Yeah, I think, maybe that's my biggest question in this. Is there a way that they could have scaled it back? Could they have made it not a hazard and, not gone to this point where they have to start from scratch?
Jean says, with the price of groceries, we'll all need to be learning to grow gardens. And we were talking about that earlier this morning, about gardening and growing.
If you invest in, those tomatoes, my friends did this last year. They have a little porch and they did tomatoes, they did blueberries, they did strawberries, and then they were good for the rest of the summer and into the fall.
Yeah.
They had all this produce. They would just give us tomatoes every time we came over. And that saves me a couple bucks if I need to make something at the store.
Diane says you can't use the property between the sidewalk and the street. Okay, interesting.
That's what I was assuming. When you look at it, it's a very large garden. It's in the front of their house as well. So maybe if they transition it to the back of their house. But I do think a lot of it was like a beautification thing. They want to have something beautiful in front of their home.
Mark kind of echoing that sentiment from Diane. You have to remember the area between the sidewalk and the street is city owned. Barbara says, when I lived in Memphis, you could not plant anything in the strip. Interesting. And then Linda says maybe the landlord tried to stop them, but they didn't listen. This is all speculation at that point, so we really don't know. But to the extent that they are looking for help now, there's a GoFundMe out there, and do with that what you would like.
A lot of people are stepping up to support them at this time, and we are expecting to hear from Niagara Falls Mayor Robert Rustino on this. We're expecting to get a statement. I guess just kind of an explanation on why the city did what they did, or if they had to step in and take action here.
Sure. I just want to address one comment here that says that I did not actually applaud Detective High in that Monday video when we were talking about what happened in the Buffalo school system. I think what you're seeing is only a very quick 40-second clip that was taken out of context. That was not necessarily the full 7-minute conversation that we had. And if you actually watch the entire video, you will see for certain that there is a point in time, several points in time, where we say, this is important. Richard High has the credence and the credentials, and we laud him for coming forward. So I think it's really important that we not just take things out of context, that we actually watch, listen, and learn, as opposed to just reading headlines and taking things at face value.
There we go.
So on that note, we thank you so much for joining us here on Second Cup. This is a show we do every single morning on Facebook Live and our WKBW app. So if you're just joining for the first time, we invite you to join every single morning so that we can share your voice. Have a great day.
See you tomorrow.